Hello there. I'm glad to be back with you with my Neuro Management video presentation. We had been talking about communication in the last few episodes and how you orchestrate and neuro manage your communication. And I had shared with you the KPSL formula. We are on L for linguistics. On linguistics, I was highlighting the choice of words, and I told you in the last two episodes, I had emphasized on that your words should be simple and also sweet. Now, in this presentation, I will highlight the importance of use of specific words, specific. To give you a few examples of how the words that you use are just vague or you go in a roundabout way. First example is on body temperature. I've just taken his temperature and it's very high. Very high is very vague. So instead of very high, you have to say, I just took his temperature and it's 104.2 degrees. Very high. Next example is regarding body weight. Oh, I have excessive body weight. I must reduce it by 10%. Now, what is this excessive? This is very vague. So, my body weight is excessive nowadays. It is 85 to 86 kgs and I must reduce it by 8 to 9 kg, 10% at least. Third example, very common. The percentage of pass in a test. So it's a very low percentage of students have passed in the test. Instead of that, you have to say only 16% have qualified in the test. Fourth example is from the sales profession. Well, Jayanto, I'm not very happy with your sales performance. In the current year, you have to increase it by a few percentage more. So that is very big. Jayanto will be very confused. So instead of that, you just say, Jayanto, you have to try and increase your sales target by at least 20% this year. So these are examples of specific words that you have to use. Now I'll share with you a very interesting case study, which is a live case study. Now this is between a boss and a subordinate. The boss is very tough, very short-tempered, and he dislikes people going on leave. Imagine the boss's name is Mr. A. Now Mr. B is a very anxiety-prone, very nervous, dependent subordinate. So B wants to go on leave and he has not planned his leave. It's a sudden requirement, emergency. So he writes down his leave application for 7 days and enters into the boss's chamber. He is so nervous he cannot establish eye contact. He is avoiding the gaze. His hands have gone at the back, holding that piece of paper which contains the leave application. Now he just starts to scratch his head. He is so nervous. And he fumbles. The boss says, what do you want? He cannot answer. So he enters into what I call the non-achievement cycle of communication. Non-achievement means failure. It's a cycle, right? You become very anxiety prone. Inside your brain, the anxiety neurotransmitters, cortisol, which is the stress hormone, gets secreted. You lose your memory temporarily, working memory. So how would he recover? He has to plan a little. Now, he can have two alternatives. He has to go with two alternative solutions. Since he knows that the boss dislikes people going on leave, the first solution could be he works overtime and he completes the urgent assignments before going on leave, so that his mind is free and the boss is also stress free. Alternative 2, he is very close to a colleague, and the colleague also does similar type of work. So he talks to the colleague that I have to go on leave, and would you manage my work? So the colleague agrees. So he explains the job to the colleague and takes the colleague to the boss. So these are two alternative solutions. Now, this gives him confidence, and confidence means positive chemical in the brain, positive electricity in the brain. This is how you neuromanage your communication. This is very important. You should not enter into a failure cycle. You should always try to be in the achievement, in the success cycle. And that is what is neuromanaging your communication, because communication starts, I did not tell you earlier, with self-talk, thoughts. Before you express orally, you carry certain thoughts inside your brain, inside your mind. So communication starts with self-talk, or some of us call it mind chatter. We are always chatting inside our mind, right? So that's all for this presentation. Thank you very much, and we'll be meeting very soon.